This week we're traveling back into God's Word. It's kind of an interesting chapter we're looking through this week. There's all kinds of battles, there's all kinds of bloodshed, wickedness, violence going on. And at the heart of it is the story of one woman who really makes us ask that question, how do I get in with God? How can I get right? So her name's Rahab. She lives in Jericho, and everybody kind of knows the story of Jericho because God miraculously makes these walls of the city crumble into pieces. But that's not really the big story in Jericho. The big story in Jericho is this woman named Rahab who's running a brothel and has got every reason in the world to never get in with God. But two Israelite spies come into the city, and she decides that she's going to hide them so that the king won't find them, so that their lives won't come to a screeching halt right there, executed by this king in Jericho. Because you see, Rahab has been watching and she's been paying attention, and she has seen that what's going on in Jericho and what's going on in her life, it's not working. And maybe as you read God's word and you engage it, maybe sometimes you say your same thing to yourself. It's not working. Rahab's at that point. So she asks these spies to basically show her some grace. When those walls come tumbling down, take me out of here and bring my whole family with you too. And you think about it, that seems kind of challenging that somebody like that would have such a boldness to want to be in with God. But maybe ask you that same question too. How do we get in with God? How do we get that relationship established? And how do we know that we can just be in his good graces, especially when maybe you've got a story that might not be as radical as Rahab's, but definitely is filled with brokenness and times where you said, this is not working. Well, as you plug away in God's word today, you see the great escape for Rahab. She does come out and she does survive, and God is gracious to her. And you can only imagine what must have happened when all the people of Israel heard, hey, one family got out, and it's Rahab, the prostitute, the brothel owner. Imagine how they would have reacted to that. Well, I can tell you how God reacts, because Jesus spells it out plainly. He says there is rejoicing in heaven amongst the angels of God when somebody comes to believe and know him and to be showered upon with God's grace. And that's the good news. So as you read this week, that's what you see. Now, if you're not in that spot that Rahab's at, or at least you look in your life and maybe you don't feel that way, take heed, too, of a warning you're going to see from God's word, because he tells the Israelites beforehand, don't think you're entering into this place, this promised land, because you're such great guys. Instead, you're coming in the same way everybody else does, by the grace and mercy of God. So be challenged by that grace today, to see it and read it this week. Keep plugging away, keep at it. I know we're into, the later weeks now of the story, but just keep at it. Keep hearing God's word. Keep seeing his grace in people like Rahab and people like you and me, that God would let us be in and be a part of him and what he's doing. I pray God is encouraging you as you read this week. Share it with your friends. Let them know, too, this great news of Jesus. If this video is helpful to you, give it a like, give it a share. Let other folks know about it too. And we'll see you this weekend for worship on Saturday or Sunday. Pray that you have a blessed week.